Okay, so this goes. You may hear a dog barking. She will not calm down today, it seems. So let's hope she relaxes shortly, otherwise this might be a very short stream. So I do not have the noise gates, I don't think, to block her out. We'll see. See if she calms down. She's being grumpy. Okay. So today will be pretty much about getting the doing a little bit of cleanup on some of the pieces on the project. I don't want to go too far ahead with this project at this point, because like if I do too much, then there's not much to be done, and I don't want to leave the project in a place where everything's kind of there, but people can tinker with it, unless that's kind of what people want to do. Interesting. Test it? No, why not? Has it reset the database? No, I had caps lock on. Professional. Okay, so I don't want to go too far ahead, because if I go and do everything in the app that I kind of intended, then there's nothing for other people to pick up, and there's nothing new for people to pick up. So I may find myself at a point where I don't do any work on this project unless people have questions on it. Because again, the focus of this project is not one of me doing everything. The idea is that there's things that people can pick up and work on and actually implement that we don't. Because I've noticed that if I do something and someone comes along and tries to pick up that piece of work, then they stop doing it because they don't want to try and do something I've already tried or I've already done. So I don't want to leave that open for people, because what are you doing, Gilbert? Okay. So there is a lot of stuff here to do, a lot of pieces that I do need to learn a little bit more about how to present these so that they're easy to pick up and what sort of information people need adding, etc. So I'm open to ideas here. For right now, let's go clean this part up. Make this a little nicer looking, maybe. So this is using Bootstrap Blazor. Layout, no, pages, friends. So we have the groups. Hey, Doctor, how you doing? Read some Mike Cohn. Him and Jess Allen started the Scrum Alliance. Yeah, I've got one of Mike Cohn's books on Scrum somewhere in the pile to read. Yeah. Sorry. Nice. Doggy. I apologize if you can hear the dog. She's taken to doing this every morning recently. She wants to go and sit out on the lawn and look at people. It's a very management to the outside view of development kind of stuff, like stories should always fit in a single sprint, user stories, etc. Okay. I mean, that's not stories fit in a single sprint, that's not something I disagree with. Stories should always fit in a sprint. Okay, so let's work on, we'll get the layout done, and then we'll do the, yeah, features, no. Yeah, not always. So, Blazor, Bootstrap. Yeah, features are a different thing entirely. Yeah. Don't you do it, dog. I don't need anything advanced. I just need. Another book I have says epic equals feature. I mean, sometimes they can align. Sorry. If the general feature is big enough, yeah, absolutely, they could align. Epics don't always align though. Epics would often contain many features. Like if the feature is routing, then that would be an epic if there's many parts towards getting that data there. So the average feature is 3 sprints, and that's 6 weeks. So 2 features in one epic would be 12 weeks typically. I think the problem is with okay, if the dog doesn't stop doing the crying and barking in the next like 10 or 15 minutes, so I'm going to stop the stream because that I can't block the sound out. That's a fair size commitment. You can't project out that far. It's one huge issue. I don't think the thing is, I think we try and apply typical rather than changing our working practices. For you, a feature might be 3 sprints. Mr. Jones, hello. Depends on how we break down features. It depends on what we have as far as tooling goes. It depends on, a whole manner of things. So I don't think there's that. I think that's the biggest problem is there's no typical. So when people write books, and again, like the software development, right, we try and apply what other people are telling us to do, and we try and go very literally after the book, and we don't worry too much. We try and follow what they're outlining rather than actually trying to think, well, our organization works in this one way. So I don't think if an average, what is a feature, again, defining what is a feature, what you call a feature, is a feature adding a new screen to uh, uh, add a widget, or is a feature the entire process of the widget, like adding, removing, listing, etc., then yeah, that story could go onwards. But again, each story adds value, so it's not really a huge commitment. Um, yeah, yeah, I can see that. Um, oh, does a hot reload work? I don't see hot reload working. Um, I thought there was a button. I was semi-reading yesterday and wondering how do I communicate what I'm reading in whatever, and realized I probably don't. Even if someone had the patience for that, we wouldn't get much out of it. Quite sure I follow. You mean how to relay the things that you get out of the book to other people? Like if you're sharing in a group? Yeah, that ain't working. Uh, Give me this one. I was about how to structure stories, and too many people involved. It's not my role, etc. Okay, that looks a little healthier. Not exactly nice, but it looks healthier. Alt F10, by the way. Um, it might help IntelliSense. Apparently, Alt F10's hot reload, so we're gonna find out. Um, um, also best rather mark you a bit. I think, although not sure, you have to be very careful in the way you mark and what it abstracts in what manner. Um, I mean, yeah, you it bleeds everywhere. It depends on where you're trying to do your testing, what you're mocking. I cannot win. I speak perfectly for 2 days. I go to stream and my head's all stuffy again. Also, formal setup code helps. Also, similar to what you're doing. Yeah, and that's why I like the way I do the testing. Again, that's kind of a bit of a borrow from Mr. Anhorn in style. I kind of liked it, and also just the way I've kind of evolved to do the testing. Um, I prefer having the distinct arrange and act methods because it just allows me to organize the code, and then the actual asserts are not bogged down by everything else. So I was doing something similar, but Mr. Anhorn just gave me an organizational way, and then I kind of created that arrange act base class. Um, yeah, and unit test frameworks have that sort of concept of setup, etc. It's just it's um, where is this layout? I don't want a grid. I just want it aligned to the right. But yeah, organizing your test code can make all the difference to how the test code, how you think about it as well. Like for me, I do focus on the what is my subject, and what am I trying to test, and then the mocks. How do they support that subject? Everything, nothing else should be, except in some circumstance, everything else should be mocked, or unless it's a very dumb object that doesn't have any behavior in it, which I don't see why you would need at that level. But yeah. That's just headings. What am I looking for? Like, I want flex layout here, sort of. Flex. Deflex, flex row. The mocks can get so unreal, it's easy to blame them for everything, when really they can be as much as a symptom as part of the problem. I mean, that's true of everything. If you get carried away, and sometimes you've got to get carried away, right? You've got to get carried away to understand the problems that you've created or you're facing. So it's worth exploring the use of them and making sure you know when you've gone too far. It's kind of why I do like end substitute instead of mock, because end substitute does give a little bit more readability, um, in my perspective. But I mean, F10, did that work this time? Yeah. Okay, that doesn't do anything. It said it did. So, come on, hot reload was going to be fixed. Yeah, so hot end substitute, I just think it reads a little easier because you set up the mock and then you interact with the object. So the object is the mock. You don't have to go and get dot object on the thing that you've got. You can just treat it like it is the real thing in the test, and then you just kind of tell it, hey, if you receive this or if you do this. So I think the API is a little bit more readable than MockQ. Does all the same things as far as I'm aware. I don't think MockQ has anything particularly over it. I guess I'm just restarting this. Hot reload. Not what I expected. I am going to move this to Visual Studio, as hot reload is not working, and I do not want to sit here restarting this app every time I make a CSS change. So I want okay, so that should be flex grow. Visual Studio. So I need this one. Oh my goodness me. Visual Studio hasn't finished loading. And that's padding. Why would that matter? There you go. So all I'm doing right now is just tinkering with some of the styling and tinkering with the design a little bit of the layout. Again, I don't want to. I'm at the point where if I dive too deep, I'll do most of the functionality of the project, and that's not what this is built around. This is built around, hey, if you want to join in and do stuff, then you're more than welcome to join in and do stuff. So if I do all the work, then it kind of takes the energy out of it. Okay, so we have a bunch of groups. Everything's aligned. That's okay. The padding definitely does a bit for it. Styling I do directly in the browser, then transfer back a lot. I've worked that way before, definitely. My problem is that once I get too involved in that, it's you end up losing things and trying to find out where they are. Okay, so that looks a lot of neater. Let's commit that. I'm going to commit that straight to master. No, I don't think anyone has any real branches out there that are going to get affected by this right this second, so I don't have any worries about doing that. Watering water. Style. Yep, no worries. Yeah, yeah, I can definitely see the styling advantages there. Thank you for the look. Okay. So let's have a look at the. So there are 4 active forks of this code, or 4 forks of this code. Active, inactive. So Judicus has been doing stuff. Rambler Geek helped a couple of months ago with some stuff. The other 2, iPax and Claudia, checked out the code. That's the purpose, right? The purpose is you can check out the code and tinker with it and do what you want with it, right? So that's not worrying. I'm just trying to check to see if there's anyone actually doing any pushes actively to the project. Because again, if I pick up something and someone hasn't said, oh, by the way, I'm going to do that, then I could end up overstepping and doing that piece of work. And then they come along and like, well, here you go, I did my PR. I'm like, well, I kind of did that already to try and keep moving forward with the project. So I want to be careful that I don't step on people's toes, but also if they see that I've done it, and the idea of this is a learning thing, right? They're not going to even put their PR forward. Because A, the code won't merge properly anyway, so the comparison will look wrong. But also, if someone's new to the development process and new to this piece and is trying to commit something to learn, if I go off and do it, they're not going to assume that they're going to do it any better than I am, so they probably won't put it forward. And I don't want to do that to people. So I do want people to be able to do stuff if they want to do it. That being said, if people aren't saying anything, I can't really do anything other than move forward with the project. So, the goal is this is friendly. If you want to tinker with it, if you want to check it out and work on it on your own, you're more than welcome to. There's all sorts of options for just getting used to working with a project on GitHub, and that's all I care about really. One thing I will say here, I do want to make a change there. It's not I'm going to leave that there as a very wordy thing. And also, if anyone else has any ideas about to tighten that up a little bit so that You know, the documentation is one of those things. The getting started, all these things. They're all open to changes, because if there's things that help clarify this, if there's things that are difficult to understand, then you know that's kind of what I want to do. Okay. So that being said, ad breaks. Just want to see if there's an settings. If anyone has any questions, thoughts, opinions on what I'm doing here, you know, you want to join in, you're curious as to what I'm doing, you're more than welcome to ask, more than welcome to discuss. Okay, so it is that key map, hot reloads enabled. Just doesn't work. Okay. We'll close all tabs there. Okay, so what would be a simple thing to pick up for a stream? That's kind of 50% then. You can't join a friends group yet because we don't have that code. Let's do this one. Let's pick it up. Okay. So a friends group has a of course there's no tool in here to open with. Does Server Explorer do it in here? No. You. Nope. Other. I thought this did work. Nope. Local. That's all network. Okay. Is there really no way of opening a SQL? I thought Server Explorer did it. Add a connection. Nope. Don't think this is going to work. Nope. Yeah. Don't open. Okay. Plan B. And then that's that. Okay. Now we can explore the database. He says, as the database doesn't work. Did I break this? Oh, tell me I didn't break it when I opened it. Hey, Apex, how you doing? I'm doing okay. How are things? I'm doing well. Lots of stuff happening. Hoping to get back to streaming in May more. Nice. Yeah, I was actually dropped in Amwin's stream. Yeah, I did break the database. Awesome. Yesterday I was lurking a little bit, and I was going to ask where you were. And is the game still progressing? Are you still making any progress, or is it just busy work? Yeah, I was just I was doing some development stuff, so I didn't say hi. But yeah, it's progressing but slowly. I'm also onboarding 2 friends onto the project. Okay, so oh yeah, we don't have nice tools in this, do we? Like, hey, run the migration. Let's do this. I'm not messing around with that one. Having the different windows open, etc. Rider is definitely a more integrated development environment. Oh dear. So I did a sleep study over the weekend, which was quite interesting. But it was the best I've breathed in weeks. No, it didn't. It didn't delete anything. Oh, everything got reset. It wiped the database out. So let's take this. Let's create a branch. Feature 28. So we can do this through the API. There is the facilities. We'll have to register a new account with Insomnia and get the token, etc., and then make a request to join a friends group from a different friend. So the testing is a little bit more work. Okay. So API project. I'm literally going to run the project through Visual Studio and then interact with it through Rider. Come on, Rider, fix the hot reload. So that's the request to get the dynamic variables. Ooh. So you can actually create full scripts out of this. Nice. Okay, so no data, 350. Eastern time, save that. Friends, add a group, new group, add that group. There's the group. Log 25, 7%. Yep, that figures. So everything's working generally well. What I wanted to look at is the actual. So group has an owner ID. Okay, so if you are the owner of a group, you can't join a group. But we need a new group members table. Okay. New API endpoint for add, new API endpoint for query users in group. Actually, this also changes as well because technically groups are not only, so there's groups you own and groups you are a member of, and you really want to see all of them because the idea is that you can create a friends group. So there's no point in having privacy, right? It's not like I share a group with you and you share a group with someone else and that someone else can't see me, right? So everyone is a group. So the idea will be very much based around, so there'll be a group membership, and a group membership will have a group ID and a user ID. And what I could do is have, when you add a group, you are automatically added as a member. And that way I can just use the group memberships table. But yeah, figure that out in a minute. So doc. Okay. So let's stop running that. Go over here. So application tests concerning groups. When generating group code, when registering an account, registering an account email. When joining group, and you are owner. Get out, little fly. Fact. Oh, I gotta remember, I don't quite do these the same way I normally do. No membership. So it shouldn't necessarily fail because you are a member, but you know, it is that's impressive. If only it worked that way. So group service, add new group, get groups. So I think it's okay to put things like adding members to groups into the group service. That's okay. From an API perspective, that works pretty well. Our user ID, our group ID, that's determined at the API level, right? So, can he? Give me like a wrecking ball fan up. Wrecking ball would be destructive. Exchange it with a sub. Thank you very much for the resub. I really, really appreciate that, sir. Thank you. Hope you are well today. Should we return a conflict? I don't know if we should return a conflict there. But I kind of like that API. So we will have group get by ID in group by actually so there's no how are things progressing? Pretty good. I'm picking up the ability to join into a group in the water drink water. So I figured that at least move that forward a little bit. So if you have the code, you can join the group. That's what we want. So constant on int group code equals a b. Actually, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Why would that be a string? Why would that be an integer? Okay. I know what I'm doing. Professional. Okay. Assuming we might want to add Signaler at some point, we could already use Signaler groups maybe. Actually create groups off the groups. Yeah, I mean, Signaler, yes, absolutely. High IPAX, by the way. Yeah, Signaler definitely come into this. Obviously, the push, the prompts, etc. That kind of intended being able to nudge someone and say, hey, maybe you should drink some water. All that sort of features. Yeah, Signaler would definitely be where we'd be heading there. Repository and code generator. So we don't need a code generator, but var that does make me pause a second because now I've got a dependency on another thing that I don't need at all for this piece. So should this be a group service? I don't know. This starts to, when you have something called a service, like from a design perspective, I get it. right? You have the API, you have the entry point, then you call a service, and that service does a thing and interacts with the database. So your application, your API is not directly touching your database. I get the separation, but the problem is service kind of can act like a controller can on the API side, right? It can just end up being this big bundle of behavior. That was a lot of B's. That you now have all these dependencies in. So services can grow. You've got to keep an eye on them as to why am I doing this, right? So the group service now, I'm making it responsible for adding and creating groups, but also memberships. So now my memberships are going to go into this service, but I don't need a generator for that. I just need the generator because the group service requires the generator to come in there. So and because of the way the repositories are built here, this doesn't have a one-to-one with a model, whereas in my main project, my repositories kind of are one-to-one with the model. So this design would actually be broken to do it this way. So we're going to create a method called join group, and that's going to return a bool. I love the font and spacing in this, so easy to read and navigate. Hi, Chica Trooper, how are you doing? Welcome in. You talking about Rider? So this should not be group ID, this should be group code. And this is our user ID that we're joining. So here we want this to be a string code. It's implicit that it's group code at this point. We're joining a group. So first we need to do var group equals repository dot get by code. If group is null, return false. We're not going to put that in yet. Technically, what I should have done here is not actually done this way, because now I'm establishing the logic. What I should have done is establish that I can add a membership record first and then test it. Oh, well, if you're the owner, you shouldn't create a membership record. Then I'm not adding that logic in there. So realistically, I'm doing this a bit incorrectly, because I'm going to add that logic in there. And then the other test for when you're not the owner will always work. Right. So realistically, to test this effectively, when joining a group and you are not the owner, right? The fact here is membership record is created, right? So if we're doing this the correct way, let's see if it wants to fill it in for me. Oh, sorry. So I'm asserting I did receive add membership on the repository. So again, this is going to want to add membership. That's okay. Right. So that is going to want to do that. And this should be okay. Yeah. And then this one would be the no, you shouldn't have that. So we have a few more pieces to wire up here. So let's create a membership. Public int ID, int group ID, int user ID. That's an inconsistency that I really should not have. I refer to it as user and I refer to it as account. And what that means is someone coming to the code could just as easily get confused. Is there a difference between a user and an account? They could also put user ID or assume there's something missing and fill something in. It might not make them able to quite follow through the code. So at some point, a refactoring needs to go on. And again, this code base is not meant to be a demonstrated good example of how to write code. What this code base is meant to be is a relatively quick a more rapidly developed application with a lot of holes and a lot of deliberate points of discussion. There's things I've done in this application, in this code base, that no one in the chat has picked up on, that I've done deliberately to be bad, right? Or to be not bad, but more contrary to how you should do something, right? So, or what works well in good design. Again, I've got to avoid the word bad because if it works, it works. You could argue that, right? But again, this code base isn't going to grow very quickly. But the entire purpose of this project is to help people. Here's an application. It works. It has some functional components. You can go and take it and you can analyze it, or you can ask questions about it on the stream. You can check out the code and go and tinker to your heart's content, right? There's all sorts of options there. So that is the purpose of this code base. It's not one of me saying, hey, look, here's how to do this application. It's, here we go, you have an option. So what we're doing here is add membership, new membership. And this membership is going to be right. Let's make that change now. Right. See here, I called it owner ID, so it is the owner, but it is an account, right? So there's no harm in that. That's that. Our group repository now doesn't implement our method, so we need to implement two methods. And our unit tests. I want to get these to cert.true result. Right. So we're asserting two things on a calling join group. We're certain that we did call add membership with, and actually this one needs to be arg.is membership mm.group ID. Probably should validate that it is in the group that we intended it to be, and m.account ID equals okay. And then this one is assert false. Right. So now we should have, if it builds, 2 tests. Here you go. So when joining a group and you're not the owner, we added a membership. And then this one failed because it expected not to receive it and it received it. So now we can add that logic in. So again, adding this test first would have meant that I was already rushing ahead to that logic, whereas what I wanted to do is validate that, yes, we do when we're not the owner, but now when we actually are the owner, that it works correctly. So in join group here, it's not just about this piece, right? It's about if group.owner ID equals account ID, return false, right? So now we should have a pass. So again, unit testing is not the key focus of this project, right? I'm doing a bit of unit testing here and there just to make sure there's some unit testing just to demonstrate how you might do it. It's not the focus because, again, the focus is the code and getting people to getting in there. If you want to get in here, you want to tinker with the code, you want to do stuff, you want to question, you're more than welcome to. So let's go make sure that it's implemented, right? Because this part this is only tested when we actually run the application because we're testing the integration. Yeah. So, yeah, that would be that. AI to the rescue. And that would be that. And now we're missing this part because the DB context doesn't exist because we don't have that yet. So if we go to the context, right? LM. Now, question. We're calling this memberships, and this is groups. Do we automatically associate membership with groups? Is that okay? Would you do it differently? It's a little bit redundant to call it group memberships when all it is groups. But again, is it as obvious that membership is associated with groups? Is membership the right word? We often sign up to be a member of a group or an organization, right? So the wording is correct. So if we saw a group and we saw memberships, would we actually make that link? I think we would. And sometimes it's not about necessarily making sure there's the code reads so that anyone could pick it up. It's more the words we use are important, right? So would I call it group membership when I'm referring to it, or would I call it a membership, right? So asking as a product owner, what sort of words do we use when we're talking about the system? Because if we use those words when we're talking about the system, when we're talking about the code, those words carry through. So it's easy to pick up the system if we're starting to talk about the things that happen rather than the technical things we built. So I'm going to leave that as memberships. If anyone disagrees, you're more than welcome to join in. But there we go. So we're going to add a membership if we're not the owner and if we are. So we do need a migration. Entity framework, add migration, add memberships. Okay. So we should have add memberships in here. Yep, that's right. And we can update the database. Update database, add memberships. There we go. Okay. I actually think that created... Ooh. So that actually did create... If I delete an account, there's a cascading delete. And if I delete a group, there's a cascading delete. Foreign keys are something that can get a little scary because they can kind of create some challenging behaviors. You might not know they've done it, or they're not in your code. So I'm going to leave them there, but foreign keys are something that you should keep an eye on for certain, and understand the impact it would have. So if I delete a group, which we don't do right now, so that's fine, but there will be a knock-on effect in that the membership records would get removed, which is valid, but it is not done in code. It's not managed as a part of code, so you're not controlling that. So if you wanted to know, if you wanted to react to that in some way, or like notify members that a group had gone away, you couldn't do that now. So here I think, so this is one of the biggest regrets I have about setting this project up, in that I started with API endpoints. What I should have done is started it with controllers and used it as an explanation later down the line as to a good refactoring you could do, or a difference that you might have. I'm not going to change it now because there's a lot of stuff in here and it's not worth going back to a method that I wouldn't use. But this does mean that I don't have a join method here, right? I don't have an API endpoint that is necessarily join. What I might have is memberships post, right? So you post to memberships with the group code, and that will join you into the group. Or, groups, we post to the groups to create a new group. There's no memberships component of groups. Now you could create another post on groups that does allow like, from an API perspective, again, not being RESTful. And this is going to be weird. I'm going to create join. And what this is, look, I'm experimenting. I'm just wanting to learn. Again, I think it's important to, it's not always when you have the opportunity, explore new ways or different ways of doing things just for the sake of doing them, to see how you feel about them. Don't necessarily just say, oh, well, I've always done it this way, therefore it can only fit this way, right? This might be something I disagree with later, right? Because I'm aligning to a verb, right? But maybe this makes sense because I'm joining a group, right? So what I'm trying to do here is get to this point. Endpoint. It knows what I'm doing. So it's actually saying, hey, API groups with a group code join, right? So that's the post. Could I do that differently? Could I do API groups, memberships, right? How do I feel about that as an API endpoint? Is it a good way? This won't be invalid. So we get the user ID. If our user ID is invalid, we return a bad request. We try and join the group, and So the reason it keeps suggesting join is a verb, so I think it's okay. I would do it that way. Yeah. It feels right, if I'm being honest, to do it that way. It's just not something I've done yet, right? I haven't used I've not used anything other than an HTTP verb in these folders. Actually, there's one. There's one where I do it differently, but I've stopped doing that because of my API design in the main application, switching array to a more CQRS style. So my API for query is all GraphQL, so I don't need any verbs to describe it. But in this instance, I have had a list method here before, which is the get of all. So a get of an individual versus a get of all is a get versus list. But I'm not trying to create a RESTful API, more just a clean structure for understanding what we're doing things. So memberships as a folder where you post to a membership, but it is a group. You're thinking about it as a group. So you're not thinking about memberships at this point here. You're thinking about memberships in the behind, they're tracking them. But here, join group, right? That's the way we talk about it. So I'm going to leave this in place and we're going to test this. Okay, so we're going to run that. And you go here, back here. That's me experimenting with something very different. Okay, we're going to log in. We're going to get our token. I'm running the API project here, so yeah, it's not running. Okay. So list my groups. We have one new group, and there's our code. And then we're going to do rename join group. It's the post to the groups, then that, and then join. I know this is my group, so this shouldn't work. Bearer token. Oh. I believe there's a functional difference there that I need to do differently. Nope, unsupported media type. Why? API groups. Code. I don't think I need the content type. Oh no. Nope. Nope, that's not right. There's no actual body. This one has a body to it, so that makes sense. join. Group code join. What is the difference? Post. This is the first time I've done it this way, but it shouldn't really be a big problem. What is this? This is fast endpoints. Documentation. Model binding. From form fields. From route parameters. Mismatched. So configure article ID. Route in article ID without a DTO. Endpoint my request. So there's the object. Yeah. Group code. Okay, the model binding. Huh. Hold on. Let's try that again. Content type application / JSON. That's not going to work. No. Because that's saying that the body is going to be, and that's not what was. So unsupported media type. I dislike getting stuck on stuff like this because it's like, what am I? Which part am I doing wrong? I'm not mismatched. Now that does demonstrate using the capitals, so I'll leave it as is. Don't do anything like that. The .NET building API controller does have from query or from body tags for the parameters. Yeah. It's kind of why if I was to start this all over again, I would probably go to using the API controllers first rather than using fast endpoints first. It was kind of a little lapse of judgment on my part to use fast endpoints first, because it's not that these are not user friendly, but they are not often proposed as a solution in something like a Microsoft example, whatever, right? This doesn't have, I can't use the from body, etc. This isn't meant to do this. I could, being that I only care about that, I don't need to do endpoint without request. I don't need to do that, and I could use route string. I could try that. It's not going to be null. I want it to collapse if it is. But yeah, so our Dallas's endpoints library did utilize more of the API, the ASP.NET stuff. I think fast endpoints has abstracted them even further away, so it probably is underneath, trying to use them. Bad request. Okay, that is working. So that's doing the right thing. So I'm not gonna fight that, because it's not worth me spending the next 20 minutes of the stream trying to figure out why that's returning unsupported media. I'll probably hit it again in the future. We'll worry about that later. For right now, I'm happy to do that, because it doesn't require a model for one column, or for one property, does it? So there we go. So the next step would be to register a new account. So if we do this, no, 7245, I've changed that since that point. So we now have test at test.com with Bob. So let's log in there with Bob as a password. And there's our token. And now if we go here and join a group, we should get an OK. And if we go and look at the database, we have memberships. There's our record. So account ID 2 is joining the group ID 1. There's our group ID 1. There's account ID 2. So there we go. Essentially, story done. What else? What else do we say we do on this one? As a user, I should be able to enter a friend's group code and be added to the group of friends. If the code is my own, it should not be added to the group. If I'm already in the group, it should not be re-added. There's another one. There's another test. I bet that works. We haven't created a test around that, so let's prove that it's possible. So rather than actually just do it in the code, I'm going to do it as a test. Concerning groups, when joining a group and already joined, user is not actually the membership is not duplicated. Yes, I'm relying upon the AI to fill it in for me, just from a point of speed. So we did not receive any add memberships. What we call it, because what we're going to do is we're going to say repository dot So we don't currently have existing memberships. So we're going to do enumerable of membership. Should I create a collection off of group of the members, or should I return memberships? So if I get the group, I have the memberships. I'm kind of tempted to use the group, because I can do public virtual iCollection membership. Right. And then define the foreign key relationship, define the navigation. Is that too complicated? Do we prefer having a get membership or get members call on the repository? I mean, they're both a query, or more queries. So, but I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to do it. I'm going to add a method for right now. We're going to go like that for right this second. New. Okay, so when we call it, we should already exist, and we should not receive any new membership. And assert dot true, assert dot false result. Right. So again, we shouldn't actually re-add the. Oh. I'm just doing that to make sure I don't forget it. I know that it's not part of what I was actually working on. So expected to receive no calls, expected to receive no calls, but actually received one call. So we did add the membership, right, as we expected, right? So now, var members, var If not, is already a member. That's a if is already a member. Return false. No unnecessary nesting. So now, there we go. So we validated that, and now we can't do that. So our test documents the fact that when joining a group had already joined, membership is not duplicated. Right. So being accurate there, it's like cannot be joined again or something like that. But again, the wording. The reason I backed off the whole adding the nested collection, etc., is A, it's a little bit too involved for right this second. B, it is a good future optimization or potential optimization to the system to say, hey, actually, you can't have a membership without a group, therefore you should we should probably put those things together in some sort of relation and manage that. So okay, so now if we run and try and re-add our Bob membership, we should get a badge request. Now, the problem here is that I'm not a member of any groups right now, so that's going to be a future optimization as well. That's going to be a future change. Because here, I would want that to be a group, but not owned by me. So we're going to have to change that in a future story. But we do have that ability now. So let's go do some commits. Add membership, context, snapshot. Integrations. Not much more to it than that. Okay. So that is just the API side of things, right? That is just this piece. Now go over here. I should be able to join a friends group with a code. We can go here and link that branch. And add then. Oh no, I didn't add. You need to apply it this one. Sorry. Most of them you just select, but never mind. Okay, so that should be that. That's fine. So what I'm going to do now is, in the spirit of the actual project is to create a pull request, right? So if you are watching and you are interested in understanding and going through that and reviewing it, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to leave that there for 24 hours or 22 hours to be open for any reviews, any comments, etc. that anyone wants to make. For my PRs, if I'll give it a period of time, and if no one does want to look or no one does touch it, I'll merge it in purely to keep things moving along. If you do a pull request against the repository, everything will get reviewed on the next stream for water. So that's the way this project works. So there we go. We got another feature in. We can see there's a PR against this issue. You can see that I'm assigned to it. I don't know how it works. If someone else wants to sign up to do a feature, I don't think you can necessarily assign yourself to working on it. But if you are interested in picking up anything and you actually go off and you're planning on doing the work for it, I think at the very least, add a comment to say, I'm looking at this. And again, if you fork the repository, I can actually see that it's active anyway. So if you are doing any work on it, then you actually do get to see if people actually are doing commits against the repo. Okay. So next steps, I suppose, always worth talking about. So test. Okay, so some bugs. We don't load, when we load the application, we don't actually load the current consumption in. So we don't know what this is currently sat at. That's a bug. New issue, labels, UI. It's a good first issue because it is a little bit of a exploration. Can I do this? Is that actually an image? Guess I'll find out. It is. Nice. So again, what I'm interested in doing here is just making things that can, not trivial things, but they are things that can allow someone to explore. Again, this project, if you're new to the stream, hi Junicus, how you doing? If you're new to the stream, this project is aimed at being a viewer-friendly project. It's all the code is done on the stream. There is no code done offline by me. You're more than welcome to check out the project, go off and tinker with the code. Never contribute back if you want to. It's there to contribute to in terms of, here's how a project's working. We're doing PRs against it. We're doing issues. We're tracking a project against it. We're doing all sorts of stuff. You can build your own UI against it if you want to, because there's an API that we're establishing with those features. And yeah, so it's all there for everyone to take. But if you want to contribute back and you want to do some of these things, or you want to even say, hey, I don't think that's the correct issue. Here we should add this information to the issue. That's contribution, right? That's teamwork, and that's what this project's aimed at doing. So everything is done on stream. So feel free. How have you been, Junicus? been busy on nights still, or you reacquainting to the daytime, or reacclimatizing, I suppose it would be. Great. Hopefully, I'm done with the overnight so I can get back to a regular schedule. Nice, nice. Yeah, here's hoping. I can't imagine the nights being much fun. Oh, little fly. So, there's not much else I'm going to get done in today's stream other than just chat about this. We got the ability to register to join a group done, which is a good step forward to that friends list thing. Still have 4 stores that are not behaving, but I might actually have to go to the location to do the upgrades. Ugh. On sites. Yeah. Sorry. At least they're not far away. True. Yeah, not thousands of miles apart. So we did a bit of styling, just a little brief bit of styling, just to tidy this up a little bit. We added the API side to be able to join a group. So now if you're logged in as someone else, you can actually join a group and become a member. There's all sorts of other stuff. Although it's an island, not really far away, but yeah, it's still traveling. It's still going away from home, and yeah, it's not a tiny island. You still got quite a way to drive across the island, right? Still several hours to drive around and stuff. Um, okay. So yeah, the next piece would be to. So there's a little bit more complication in that you've got to kind of now show, your friends. So I think adding the ability to see the list of friends in a given group, and also if you are a part of a group, this group doesn't show. So if I've joined this group, one question: should I be able to hand out the code? Right? Should I allow other people to join the group, or only the person who creates the group should be able to add to the group? The list of friends, obviously, Bob, etc. down here, and then we get to start to see their consumption and figure out all that. So the API is going to get a lot more complicated, a lot heavier. There's a lot more to do. Again, I'm hoping that if there's interest, then there's people that want to tackle some of that, because it's not that I don't want to do it. It's more that I want to make sure that if people want to engage in a more complicated component of the system, that option is available to them, right? So, yeah, I've been checking up the updates you've been doing. Nice. Yeah, so I kind of have got into this habit of, if I get something done on the stream, I leave the PR sat there so that everyone can have a look. And I'm trying to add more issues. Yeah, and updated this today, so I did a few sneaky development branch pushes today, but that's fine. Um, okay. I've also been on the main project on Liquid Sky. I've actually been looking to extend the Kafka library of it while we finish up this. So I got the Kafka extensions piece done a while ago, and I haven't integrated it back into my main project yet. But what I'm looking to do is allow me to, so the topic configuration is kind of global, because the topics are, hey, here's the assemblies that these events are in, and here's the topics they align to. So every component of the project doesn't have to have a specific list of topics. They just have to have the available topic that they need. So what I've been considering is doing something like this, where right now I use the key value store for the Ocelot stuff for the routing. Also using a key value store for Kafka, so being able to put all these inside of Kafka, inside of here, and then when you start up, you just say, okay, by the way, go get my topic list from this point, which means I only have to maintain one list of topic to event type navigation. So that will make a lot of organization sense there. So I've been thinking on doing that. And then today I was actually thinking through my object structure, and this is going to be a massive change. So I've been avoiding using kind of domain-driven design terms, and trying to avoid getting too deep into the rabbit hole of aggregates, etc. And I kind of thought through, and it kind of finally dawned on me, like the things that I'm doing to try and get around, like control the object, they kind of are aggregates. So I'm going to make a massive change to all this code soon. And it's going to be massive because I've got a whole lot of code to touch. Yeah. I will see if I can play around with the flow of screens. There is that registration issue there, so I'll try it. Yeah. Yeah, I think overall this project's going pretty well. I think it's there if anyone wants to touch it. It's there if anyone wants to tinker with it. It's definitely progressing. We've learned. I've learned a ton from doing this. It's allowed me to reflect on a lot of things. Oh, it did load it that time. Huh. That doesn't always load, so that's an interesting one. Whatever. That loaded that time. That's interesting. So, I mean, ultimately, it'd be nice to kind of do a UI mock-up of this, right? Like, get away from this Blazor style. This I always want to keep. I think this is awesome. I think it's a really good addition. But it could be kind of, you could do it in the like on an app style. You could kind of have that as a big central button almost, and just add the logging underneath it. There's all sorts of things you could do. This more formal app style is kind of not really ideal for this sort of app. But then again, that's why it's open to everyone, right? So anyone can tinker with it. Who doesn't love the templated Blazor layouts? Hi, OneLine, how are you doing? Hope you had a good weekend. Yeah, me. So cool. Um, what else? What else? What else? What else? Don't know of anything else. Um, yeah, on water, drink water. I think all I'm going to do is I'm going to try and proceed. It was very nice. Hope yours was good also. I had an interesting experience this weekend, and I'll share it to finish the stream. So last week, I had to do a in-home sleep study. Um, I'm ever more tired, basically. Um, and the doctor wanted me to go do the sleep study, so I went and did. I went and got the machine, and I came home and I did the sleep study. And that's actually why I had to drop off your stream on Friday, is because I had to go and call the study place back before I went to help my wife buy a new car. And they they measure however they measure sleep study stuff in like how many times or the rate of which you wake up per hour or something like that, right? And like 1 to 5 is okay, and then like 30 is a lot, right? And there's some controversy. I've looked at it. There's some controversy around actually how they score it, etc. It's not really that accurate. But basically, I was well. So I did the study on Monday. I got the thing on Monday. I did it Monday night, Tuesday night. I took it back Wednesday. They called me on Friday while I was on one line stream talking, and I called them back, and they were like, um, "One is okay. 5 is meh. Climbing up to 30. 30 is bad. You're at 86. You need to come in now and do this study. We need to know." So I'm at a extremely severe rate of sleep apnea, apparently, based upon the in-home machine. So they're like, "Oh, yeah, we need to get you in now. So can you be here tomorrow?" So I uh, I went in on Saturday at 10 o'clock at night and got wired up and did the study. So I'm hoping today I will see a phone call from them telling me, "Oh yeah, it's okay. The home machine was just calibrated wrong, or you just didn't set it up right. You're actually not that bad." Fingers crossed. But getting all hooked up to the wires and the I've still got glue that I can't get out of my hair. Um, and I had the best night's sleep I've had in a long time in some respects because I could breathe clearly. For over almost 6 weeks I've been suffering with this cough thing, and it's making me stuffy. But everything went away. Everything was nice and clear, which was nice. But it was quite exciting. But then I woke up an hour before it finished, and it felt like someone was pushing a bed because the bed was made out of like fluff. It was not a solid bed, and it felt like someone was pushing a baseball in my back for the last hour. So I wasn't sleeping. I was just rolling around trying to get comfortable. It's really nice having you on stream, by the way. I hope you never feel pressure to join. And the apnea thing does not sound fun. Sounds like I'm using a CPAP soon. Could also be whatever this stick is. Could be. I hope the sleep stuff works out for you though. That could be crazy. Yeah. I hope it's not as bad. Is my main priority, because extremely severe sleep apnea is, well, I'm stopping breathing. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. If they, well, at this point, I'm not gonna debate them if they say I need it. So yeah, absolutely. Um, but yeah, 86 times an hour I'm waking up. So I'm getting less than a full minute's sleep um, in every minute. So yeah. So when I say I'm sleeping 4 hours, I'm probably not sleeping 4 hours, am I? So that is that fun. But that was quite a different experience. And yeah, well, I also lie on my back, which isn't good. I have to leave for work, but I'm glad I caught you. Enjoy your day. Apex, thank you very much for stopping by. I hope to see some streams from you in the future. Yeah. So, okay, I am going to head out. I'm going to go get some food because I'm really hungry. I will be joining as a nice my birthday at the start of May, so I've got 2 days off at the beginning of May, which is good. So I'll be doing some longer streams for my birthday and the day after. Yeah, finding out how to sleep is good. Absolutely. So I plan to yeah enjoy my birthday. There'll be streams, and me just taking some time to code. Yeah. No, I'm disconnected. Yeah. Okay. Be back tomorrow. I'll be working on more drink water. Maybe we'll wire up that feature where we can join a group. That's a pretty simple thing now. It's just an API endpoint. If you're interested in more, you're more than welcome to join this Discord. If you've not been in the stream before, this project is all about you. If you want to learn from it, grow from it, just tinker with it, you're more than welcome. It is not a project that requires someone to come in and say, oh, I fixed it all for you. That's not what the project's about. The project is about the discussion and the stream, but feel free. I will be hopefully joining your stream later on online, assuming I have no silly, frivolous meetings. And yeah, I will be back tomorrow doing this stuff. So let's go and raid. We will raid C# Fritz today. He is working on some Aspire stuff. .NET Aspire is something that I really do want to take a look at. Sounds like a few people have got some experience of it, so it will be interesting to consider for my project. So figures I have the day off to watch streams and work calls, so I can't really watch. Ugh, just can't get out. No silos. Never give yourself a silo. Oh, I think Ryder did a few things for Aspire in the latest update. Nice. We'll have to check them out. Well, we will have to take a look at Aspire. I'll have to balance whether I'm going to tinker around. So, anyway, I will read over to C# Fritz. It looks like people have already left. But, oh, ads. But anyway, thank you very much for joining me. I will see you all soon. Take care. Bye.